everyone, and welcome to New Trials the podcast. I'm Preya.
And I'm Melanie.
The New Trials of card captor Sakura, Syaoran, and Friends is a popular ongoing fanfic by Wishluv, and it's based off of Clam's card captor Sakura. And in each episode, we'll do a deep dive of a new chapter. Let's get into it. So before we begin, I have a question for you, Melanie. Has anyone ever taken your place to save you from a situation that you did not want to be in?
So, spoiler alert, guys, she asked me this in advance so I can have time to think about it. And honestly, I really couldn't come up with like a super good one. The only one I can think of that's even slightly close is I was dating this guy and him and I had like a really bad breakup. But right before we broke up, he did kind of like a modeling event with me when I worked. It was kind of like a marketing thing where we worked at a racetrack, and he came with me that day and worked too. So I had his paycheck that I had to give him. And I was like, I really, really don't want to give him his paycheck. I really don't want to see him again. And I worked at this local pizza place with some of my buddies. And I was telling them, I was like, I really don't want to see this guy, but I have to give him a paycheck. And I really, really don't want to. And being my great guy friends, they're like, well, do you want us to like be there and I said, no, you don't have to be there. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. But then they're like, but they knew what he did to me and all that and how bad of a breakup it was. And so what ended up happening was the ex-boyfriend came to my house. I did hand him the paycheck, but then I just immediately went inside. And he was like, okay, that's weird. And so then he backed down my mom's driveway, went to leave, and my friends and this big old truck were waiting down the road, and they came and like sped up on his truck and like chased him all the way to Belton, which is like 30-40 minutes from my mom's house, and just scared the crap out of him. Like all these big old Kansas corn-fed boys just chasing after this. But it's not exactly fits the scenario, but it's the closest I could think of like a situation I did not want to be in, but my friends came through for me and I really appreciated it.
Oh, that's
How about
awesome.
you?
So the reason I asked is because it reminds me of a situation that I was in. So this was, I want to say maybe 2011 or something like that. Alex and we went to a comedy show in Seattle. And when we paid for our tickets, they gave us these raffle numbers. We didn't think much of it, whatever. We held on to it. So everybody is seated, and then the host gets on stage, and it's like, yeah, those raffle numbers, we're going to pick them randomly. And if your number is picked, you have to do a comedy routine. So they picked the first number, not me. They picked the second number, not me. They picked the third number, and it's mine. And I am like, oh no, I am not doing this. I don't want to go up in front of these people and talk about who knows what. So I just like pushed the raffle coupon to Alex, and he just took it, and he did a comedy routine. It's like he had an edge because he loved going to comedy shows in New York. So he already had like a routine ready to go. But for me, it was like, no, not going to happen. Not going to do it. You have to take the hit for me on this one.
Oh my God. I've been in the theater and acting spectrum for quite a while, and I have never liked improv or have been good at improv. And I would have done the same thing. I would have been like, heck no, someone else go up there for me. This is not my cup of tea.
Today we'll be discussing Chapter 29, Never Want You to Hurt. This chapter was released on April 13th, 2001, along with the previous chapter, Chapter 28. Word count is 9,471 words. Everyone is in 9th grade, and it's still in June. So time for the summary. Sakura had a nightmare of something lashing at her and that Syaoran was dead. She screamed until Syaoran woke her up. At school, Tomoyo and Sakura went to check the costumes, and they were shocked to find them slashed into pieces. At rehearsals, Syaoran and Sakura practiced the opening fight scene between the two characters, and when Sakura was distracted by the thought of the phantom, Syaoran lunged forward and landed on top of her. Before getting up, Syaoran told Sakura that he didn't mean any of the insults that he said when they were filling out their best couples applications. Sakura's art picture was slashed, as well as the soccer balls. Sakura and Syaoran apologized for one another for the insults after Syaoran pretended to be mad. Sakura chased him around the park until he chased her back. They were having fun until Sakura felt something go past her and found her school tie cut off. Then, with every cracking noise, she got injured until Syaoran revealed the force and found the whip. As the force was always attacking Sakura, Syaoran protected her by covering her body by taking her in his arms and enduring the whip's lashes on his own body. Just when Syaoran couldn't take the pain any longer, Sakura found a burst of energy within. Using a combination of sword, fire, and freeze, her sudden power was enough to capture the whip. Sakura got Syaoran home, doing her best to tend to the large welts on his back that were continuously bleeding. He slipped into a fever, and in his unconscious self let out a lot of details from his past. Syaoran dreamed that it was iron hot and freezing cold, and he was ready to stop fighting until he remembered Leon's words not to give up. That was when he felt a warm rose aura, and his pain became bearable. Sakura broke contact, and feeling exhausted, she found the heel. Her desire to help Syaoran created a new Sakura card. She went to sleep, and in the end, they both missed the whole day of school. That night, Sakura was ready to use heal again, feeling excited about all the people who she could start to help. However, Syaoran was tricked when he warned her that misusing the card could lead to her death and made her promise not to go beyond her limits. The next day after his rebandaging, Syaoran wrapped his arm around Sakura and told her thanks in her ear before giving her a hug, which startled her. On Sunday, Syaoran and Sakura were studying together, and he began to play with one of her braids after she styled it that way to beat the heat. He asked her why she grew it. Toya teased her about not having the patience to grow it. And to her surprise, he told her he liked it. When he advised that she would feel cooler without jewelry, Sakura told him that the necklace brought her comfort in hard times. But they think everything will be all right. Okay. So the chapter opens and Sakura has a premonition of the whip. And I really like the way that Wish-chan made a callback to this because it's very canon. Like in CCS, we see her dreaming about Syaoran and whatnot. So I like that little touch.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And that scene where the canyon swallowing Sharon's body, I think that could be like another reference to like our cliff scene.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. There's lots of we'll see what ends up happening, but yeah, I agree.
So we get a very sweet scene of Syaoran saving Sakura from her nightmare, but like the fact that he heard her screaming for him must have been so mortifying for her.
I can only imagine, especially because, you're making all sorts of other noises too, probably, which makes it even more embarrassing.
So we get to revisit the progress on the Best Couples Contest application when Tomoyo confirmed that the applications were completed, even though it took some embellishing on her part. But like it reminds me of like one of Wish-chan's past authors' notes saying, well, the play is coming, but so is the Best Couples Contest, but these things take time, and it's not just like it's not like an anime where it's like, okay, today's 30-minute adventure is going to be that. She's really laying down the groundwork to make everything work in real time.
Yes, and that's something I really love and appreciate about Wish-chan is that it really, I think that's why I love this story so much, because it feels real. Injuries don't just heal overnight, or plays don't just happen in a span of an episode or a chapter. Like, I really love that she puts the thought and love and process into it to make it seem real and flow like how normal time would flow.
For sure, for sure. So the ruined costumes just broke my heart. It was like a real evil thing for the forces to do.
Well, I don't know why Erika would have that be something they would do when Rosaline is supposedly supposed to have the most beautiful dresses at this point, you know? And so why would she want her own dresses to get slashed?
I don't know. Like, I think like jumping ahead, she seems just so like disinterested in the whole thing. It's like Aaron's like, "Don't you want to know how it went with the whip?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, that." So she seems kind of checked out at this point.
Yeah.
So it was fun to see SNS Duel again, just like old times.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But it almost is like, you know, because we find out later that her friends and stuff have suspicions about things, and scenes like this don't really help them in that department, because it's like, what normal teenagers can just duel it out with like swords and like, you know, gymnastics and all this stuff. Like, yes, they're known as being athletic, but this is like Jackie Chan level athletic.
They're showing their hand because even like during the carnival chapter, Syaoran's like, "I can't show magic. This is my magic. Choo choo choo." And now it's
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, look at us. We're martial arts superstars. I guess like Syaoran, his background is so mysterious that people just don't question it. And for Sakura, it's like, oh, it's the athletic one. She'll pick up anything
Mm-hmm.
fast.
Mm-hmm.
We get an Aki and Erica scene in this chapter, and she's very jealous of like the whole Syaoran thing. But when she slapped Aki, I was shocked. I didn't see that coming, and your sound effect really enunciated that moment too.
I completely forgot that happened until I was doing it for the audiobook. And I really don't think that's something Wish Chan would do now. I don't think I don't know what you think, but I don't think that's something she would put in now.
Probably not. It's like Erica can be catty, but this is kind of like crossing the line.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
So I think so there's mention of Sakura's artwork being destroyed, and I think this is the one of Midnight Star. The
Hmm.
and so have you ever had any of your artwork thrown out or destroyed without you knowing?
Oh my gosh, that's such a good question. Trying to think. The only so there was this like really super, and it's almost kind of weird. It's almost like I manifested my destiny when I did this, but I did this really cool eyeball artwork my senior year of high school, and it was really cool. It was my eye, but then my pupil had like the world in it, and it was super cool. And I loved that painting, and I was so proud of it. And then years later, when I started working in ophthalmology, my office, we were talking about different artwork and stuff. I was like, oh, I have a literal eyeball artwork I can bring in, and you guys are welcome to put it on the wall. They're like, sure. I searched everywhere for this dang thing, and I have no idea what happened to it. It just completely disappeared into the netherverse. Who knows? Like my mom and I, we went through her whole house searching for this painting. So I either lost it in a move, it got thrown out by accident, but I am so sad because I was literally so proud of this artwork. How about you? Has anything ever happened like that to you?
Yeah, so I was in middle school, like 14-year-old in grade eight, and our final project was self-portraits. And I actually did a good job, and I wanted to give it to my dad for Father's Day. So it's the end of the year. The teacher's like, yeah, sure, you could just pick up your work during the exam period, just pop in. So every time I go to the art room, it's closed, it's closed, it's closed, it's closed. Finally, it's open, and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to pick up my work. And I still remember that gut-wrenching feeling when she told me, "Oh, I already threw it away."
That's so rude.
I'm like, I walked away in shock. I felt so sad. And it's like, she's the one who said pick it up during this period. And she just jumped the gun. She just like, just started spring cleaning early.
Oh my gosh,
I was
that is
very
beyond
annoyed.
rude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I can't believe it. I worked so hard on that and I can't even take it home.
Oh, I would have been livid,
Mm.
livid.
Well, it's okay. I uh I liked the drawing, but then when I went to color the skin, it was totally off and then I didn't like it as much. So that's my little consolation. Uh
Ever the optimist.
So back to the chapter, we also learned that the soccer balls were slashed, and that's how Syaoran was able to get out of school early to walk home with Sakura. And they talked about the best couples application, and they apologized to each other, which was sweet. We get an adorable chase scene, and unfortunately, it opens the door with their face off with the whip.
Oh, this is one of those forces that, like, even if I don't read this for the longest time, I always remember this scene vividly in my head. It's such a good one. It's so good. Like, even though it's brutal, but it's amazing. It's so good.
He really goes in hard with the details. Like she spares nothing.
Mm-hmm.
She puts it all on the table. So we get a
Oh,
callback of how the whip sliced off Rune's hair. So I like that.
mm-hmm.
So Sharon quickly realized that the whip only attacks Sakura, and after using some of her cards and failing, Sharon becomes a human shield. And that scene was so harrowing to read. And like now more than ever, because you really nailed the pain in his voice.
Thank you.
And I actually forgot how Sakura captured the card. And I like how she used like a super cool like sword, fiery freeze combo because like Sharon, he tried to cut it with his sword, but it was just like getting back together again and going on with its business.
It kind of reminded me, like, that's how Nadesco did it too, is she just got so like pissed off basically that the whole whip exploded. And so it's kind of like a callback to that too, because Sakura just gets so mad that her powers just ignite. I don't know if that's the correct word. And then she's able just to like use all her anger and energy just to take it out finally. But she gets to seal it where her mom can't. But I thought it was kind of cool that it was kind of like a parallel to that scene.
Yeah, that's nice. That's a nice observation. I forgot that this is the one where Nadeshiko like just explodes it with her mind or whatever it was, and we talked
Yes.
about that like earlier in the podcast.
Yes. Yep.
So back at home, Sakura is at Sharon's bedside and tends to him. And once again, Wish-chan really gets graphic with the details.
And once again, everyone's going to be so annoyed at me, but I'm putting on my medical hat. Why wouldn't Sakura just take him to the emergency room?
Oh, you know how it is in all the movies. You don't get the hospital involved because then they have to contact his family. And if and the last thing Sharon wants is for people to be in his business. And Sakura respects his privacy, and she feels it's like it's and then it's like if she brings him in that state, then she is the one who has to answer all of the questions. And it's like you can't just say this deranged man with a whip decided to attack him for no reason. It's all part of keeping everything hush hush.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, because there would be a lot more questions. Okay, I'll let this one slide, but like, but I do appreciate like the way that she was treating him and stuff. As she did a very good job. So, anyways.
I thought it was really interesting that Sharon talks so much and is in a conscious state. It's like imagine being Sakura and getting all the tea.
I'm impressed he didn't just start spilling the tea though about his feelings for her. Like I remember when I first read this chapter, I was like, "Oh my god, he's finally going to be honest," but it's only because he's unconscious. So I thought for sure he'd be like, "Sakura, I just love you. I'm kidding. I'm kidding when I said I didn't love you anymore."
Oh, but knowing our Sakura, she's just gonna like write it off. It's like, oh, he was delirious. He doesn't know what he's talking about.
He
And
doesn't
that,
know.
yeah, we would just be back at square one. So Wish-chan, she once again didn't miss a chance to mention Lei Yun again, and even manifested him in Sharon's imagination. So how surprised were you that you were voicing Lei Yun's this soon?
Very, but I already kind of voiced him a little bit too on that
Ah,
flashback scene,
oh yes.
right?
Yes.
That's happened. Yeah. Yeah. And so, but it's one of those things now that we're doing this podcast. Like he is mentioned so many times. I do not know why I was so shocked when he finally showed up.
It's like, oh yeah, I think Wish-chan likes bring dead people back to life. So we see the creation of the heal card, and the way that Wish-chan describes it, you think that was like a magic transfusion. And seeing that it does come from Sakura, I guess that's a good way to describe it as well. And then at the end of arc 3, we're going to see Syaoran doing this for Sakura. So we get to visit the twins after Erica comes back from a date, and she seems very blasé about the whole whipped outcome. And I actually forgot about the scene of Erica calling Syaoran and Sakura answering the phone. And your Syaoran voice during that whole scene was so funny.
Thank you. I felt pretty proud of that one.
What's really important about this chapter is that Syaoran gives Sakura like a real wake-up call about abusing the heel. And I think this is the first time we actually like see Sakura at the cusp of being drunk with power, because she's like, oh, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to heal this and I'm going to help this person and I'm going to do that. And like if Syaoran was not there to keep her in check, she would definitely have abused that.
Yeah, out of all the cards that could go to someone's head, like Sakura being such a selfless person in nature, this really is the most dangerous card for her to have, because I mean, we see later on how dangerous it can be. So, you know, him bringing this up already, it really just kind of sets the scene for what's going to happen soon, you know?
Oh, for sure. This chapter gives us another SNS hug, which I completely forgot about. But too bad Sakura was so quick to squirm out of it. And it's all the split personality stuff, I tell you. It's like she wants to go into it, but it's like, no, it's not what he wants, so I have to jump away because he made himself clear.
Well, it's 100% his fault too, because he keeps giving her mixed signals. And if he wasn't being so weird, and if he would just be honest with how he's feeling, then maybe she would act differently. So it's a two-way road there.
So, but we did get a very sweet scene of we get Sakura wearing Sharon's like basketball jersey. So he's like, "Hey, is that my top?" And she's like, "Yes." That's very cute. And then the whole epilogue of the chapter, that the whole thing was adorable.
So the scene I really wanted to mention here is when he's playing with her hair and he mentions how much he likes it. So do you think that's why she chops off her hair in arc 4, is to kind of get back at him because he liked her long hair?
You know, end of arc 3, Sakura was in such like a dark place. And I don't think that it could be a part of it, but I don't think it's like the whole part of it. Like,
oh, for sure.
For her, it's like a new me, new hair, and it's like she's always had really good, like a really good experiences when, like, you know, even in the manga, Yukito cuts her hair and it makes her happy. So like she just took the opportunity, and the non-canon thing, the reason why Wish-chan had her hair cut was to differentiate Arc 4 fan art from Arc 1, 2, 3 fan art.
Right.
But it could be a part of it, but
it was just the first time I've ever kind of picked up on that. This was like the first time. And I know they also say like hair holds memories, and so you want to, like, if you go through something traumatic, you chop your hair off, you know? So I get it.
Yeah, it's like, you know, if we're remembering arc 4 Sakura, this is like after he leaves her in Hong Kong. He's like walking away and she's like on the floor crying. So she's like very vulnerable, very low. So she just probably figured, oh, maybe I'll feel a bit better if I cut my hair. And that was definitely a pivotal scene. And we all know ever since the beginning, the reason why her hair is that long is because Toya teased her. It's like, oh, you won't have the patience. Now she proved her point, so she can go back to the way things were.
Yep, indeed.
Yeah. And then we have Syaoran, who made like a little mention of the necklace. Yeah. So that's how the chapter ends. So, Dark Force Corner. Sakura, she tried to use her OGs, Woody and Fiery, against the whip, but like that was before she chopped it off, so it didn't really have much of an effect. I think I was surprised that Shield was no match for it either. Like,
Yeah, I was really surprised about that too.
yeah. And like we talked about, in the end, she used Sword to cut it in pieces. And then I'm going to guess that she used Freeze to stop it from reforming, and then Fiery to really finish it off.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So later in this chapter, we have the heal card. And I actually drew this card a long time ago. And the design that I decided for it to be, it was like a heart and then two band-aids over it.
Oh, I love that.
Moving on to fan art spotlight, we have another fan art from our Asume, Maria, and it's called The Whip. And this is actually version 2. Version 1 is like a more generic version, and version 2, she was really getting into it, and she was really proud of this piece. She's like, I know it's not really canon in the way that like he's positioned, but she's really happy with it.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's so good. It's so good. Like their facial expressions are perfect. Like her like ratted skirt, it's beautiful, Asumi, really.
All right. So time for the author's notes.
All right, short and sweet today. So we got Wish-chan. SNS are growing closer, nay. Sakura created a new card to heal Syaoran. It's different from before because previously she's just been sealing forces into card form. Look forward to the next chapter. Action to come during SNS's summer vacation.
Yes, summer vacation. I think like the Arc 2 summer vacation, there's just something so special about it. It's like we have many summers in New Trials, but the Arc 2 one is like probably the most special of them all.
Oh yeah, 100%. So many good things happen and so many like good scenes. I'm so excited to get into it.
You have been listening to New Trials, the podcast, where it must rain for there to be a rainbow.
You've been listening to New Trials, the podcast. Please be sure to check out the audiobook version of this fan fiction that you can find anywhere that you can find this podcast. Also, please be sure to check out the Facebook fan page for New Trials, where a big part of our discussions happen nowadays and where your comments may be highlighted in the Alliance of the Stars section. And be sure to stick around next week where we discuss Chapter 30, The Lone Thief of the Night.